Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In this lecture, we are going to have a new concept called confidence interval. What do we mean by confidence interval in the biostat? We will come and see. In our previous lecture, we had the normal distribution, just like the figure above, just like this curve. Okay, confidence interval is related to this curve. It's the range at which we are confident that our measurements lie within this range. يعني confidence interval is a range. Okay, it's a range in which most of our data lie within. Okay, the most important confidence interval or the most important range is the 95% confidence interval. Okay, the 95% confidence interval means what? It means that it's the range at which 95% of our measurements lie within this range. Okay, نحن قلنا confidence interval is a range in which our data lie, and we said that the most common confidence interval used in biostatistics is the 95% confidence interval, which is the range in which 95% of our data measurements lie within this range. Okay, the range of the 95% confidence interval equals 2 standard deviations. Okay, if we come and see in this curve, we have in the middle point is the mean, just like we said, and the 95% confidence interval لأنه إحنا قلنا هو a range معناته بيبدأ من small value to big value. The small value is the mean minus 2 standard deviations, and the big value is the mean plus 2 standard deviations. Tamam, this is the range of the confidence interval, just like the one shown in this curve. Okay, we know that the range is composed of two parts, just like we said, the minimum and the maximum. The minimum, to get the minimum range of the 95% confidence interval, we subtract نطرح 2 standard deviations from the mean, and to get to the maximum point in the range of the 95% confidence interval, we add 2 standard deviations to the mean, just like we just said. Okay, we are going to have this example عشان نثبت الفهم. If we have this example saying that the mean height of 100 men was 170 centimeters, okay, and the standard deviation was 5 centimeters. What is the 95% confidence interval for the height of the men? What is the 95% confidence interval for this data? Okay, we know that confidence interval is a range starting from minimum to maximum, and we said that the 95% confidence interval equals the mean plus or minus 2 standard deviations. Okay, so we are going to do our simple math, okay, to calculate the confidence interval. First thing, we are going to determine the minimum. We said that the minimum of the range equals the mean minus 2 standard deviations. In this example, we have the mean. It, it was 170 centimeters, okay? And we have the standard deviation equals 5 centimeters. Okay, just applied. We are going to say that the minimum of the range will equal 170 اللي هو the mean minus 2 standard deviations اللي هي 2 multiplied by the standard deviation اللي هو 5. تمام؟ ده will get us 160 اللي هو the minimum range of the confidence interval. Okay? يلا for the maximum equals the mean plus 2 standard deviations. We have the mean equals 170 and we have the standard deviation of equals 5. This means the maximum of the range will equal 170 plus 10 اللي هو 2 standard deviations. 2 multiplied by 5, 10. So the maximum of the range equals 180 centimeter. Okay? Then we put it in a range. We say that the 95% confidence interval of the height of these men is 160 to 180 centimeters. Okay? This is how we calculate and express the confidence interval. It's a very simple math calculation. ما في أي حاجة معقدة فيها. It means that 95% of those men are between 160 centimeter and 180 centimeter, because we said that in the 95% confidence interval, 95% of our data lie within. So we can say that 95% of the heights of these men lie between 160 and 180 centimeters. Okay? اللي هو the range between two standard deviations from the mean. المينيمم بنقول المين minus 2 standard deviations, and for the maximum we add the mean to 2 standard deviations. Okay? In order to apply this concept, we should have normally distributed data, just like that curve, the curve of normal distribution, like this curve. Okay? As we said, in the range of the 95% confidence interval, 95% of our study data lie within this range. Okay? طيب معناته عندنا 5% outside this range, right? The outside the range of the 95% confidence interval lie 5% of our study data. لأنه قلنا in this defined range of 95% confidence interval we have 95% of our data. عشان كده هو اسمه 95% confidence interval، لأنه هو الانترفال أو الرينج اللي فيه 95% of our data. طيب outside the range هيكون في 5% remaining. This 5% is will be يعني 2.5% in each side of this range. يعني هنا in this curve بتكون واضحة after the two standard deviations, after our confidence interval we have extremities بجنب بجاي وبجنب بجاي outside the range، لأنه هو symmetrical curve بيكون in each side we have 2.5% يعني of the measurements outside the range. كلها عندنا 5% measurements outside our confidence interval range، لأنه قلنا ال confidence interval range بتاعنا فيه 95% of our data، معناته في 5% of our data outside this range. This 5% means that there is a 5% chance or 0.05 اللي هي يعني 0.5 هي هال5 ذاتها divided by 100 عشان تبقى fraction، نفس الإكسبريشن بس في شكل fraction. It means that a 5% there is a 5% chance or a 0.05 probability that our data results were due to chance. ليه قلنا كده؟ Because we are only confident about our results in the 95% confidence interval range. Okay? confidence interval دي أنه نحن 95% of our data we are confident that they lie within this range. outside this range نحن ما عارفين الداتا الموجودة outside this range هي تبع our measurements ولا هي measurements by chance ولا أي شيء. نحن confident about the 95% of the data that lie within our 95% confidence interval. معناته extra 5% دي نحن we are not confident about it. It can be due to chance or anything. تمام. This probability اللي هي probability outside the range اللي هي 5% دي أو 0.05 fraction دي is called p-value. It's called p-value. Okay. p-value هنيجي نشوفها in the inferential statistics. Okay. I hope this lecture was clear. It's about only one concept اللي هو the confidence interval. Okay. The most common confidence interval is the 95% confidence interval in which 95% of our measurements lie within and we are confident about these measurements, that these are our measurements and we can define the range by subtracting two standard deviations from the mean to get the minimum and adding two standard deviations to the mean to get to the maximum. Outside this range we have a 5% chance that these results are due to chance or that we are not confident about these measurements اللي هم outside the range. Okay, this measurement is defined as a fraction equals 0.05 اللي هي 5% ذاتها and it's called p-value. يعني it's the value that the results are due to chance. Okay, defined as 0.05. Thank you and good luck.